Hello and welcome back to the second part of the spooky icons tutorial. I did say that I'd be working on shorter tutorials, and I just realized the one I did for the crossbones was 29 minutes, so it is longer than I wanted, but I was doing a bit of chatting and showing a few different ways to do things, so I suppose time added up. This time I'm going to try and do it faster, and we're going to work on the Cleaver icon for our spooky Halloween set. So again, there's multiple ways we could go through this. I could use the pen tool and just do a shape from the off, or I could simply do start using basic shapes, which I think we'll do. And if we have time, I might do a quick version with the pen tool. But for now, let's have a go at this. So I'm going to make sure that my color is black. I don't want any stroke, and I'm just going to go to the square tool and let's draw it a square. So that's pretty clever already, although it's exceedingly boring. I will also take another rectangle and I will do this. So that would be the kind of the main cleaver part. But I will hold down Option and I'm going to select this, drag it out so I have two of these, because I want the handle to be slightly thicker. That's just too thick. In fact, this line is just too thick here from the blade, so let's make it. And lo and behold, we already have our cleaver. But look, I can see this is not lined up properly. Now I could do it via eyeball. Because I have my smart snapping on up here, it'll easily just automatically just snap into the middle. If that wasn't the case, I could simply select the two rectangles and just go to the Align tool and just go Align Center, and then we'd have that. Select both of them and then snap them over here. So something like this. We'd also have a lot of cleavers seem to have a hole in them. I presume that's for hanging them. Now I'm not going to cut the mesh just yet. So what I'll do is I'll just select the white background and I just use the eyedropper tool. Using the I key for shortcut, so we have this here. Let's add a bit of detail to the handle, and this time I'm going to go and get another rectangle tool, and I'm going to put it here. Now I've still previously selected the white, so we don't want that, so we'll just turn it black. And we'll go down here, duplicate that. So now we have our handle is starting to look more interesting. Now, I think it looks way too sharp, so I'm going to select both of these rectangles. Sorry, one of these rectangles, and I'm going to just up the curve up here, put my slider, just so it looks more rounded. And what I'll do is I'll just copy this, drag it down, bang. So we just duplicated that, dragged it out. So now the handle is a little bit more, looks a bit more detailed. This type of rounded is nicer than these kind of harsh angles, which don't really exist in nature. I mean, well, you would see them perhaps you know, with some kind of machinery or something. But we want our cleaver to look more appealing to the eye, and I think making these rounded is more interesting. I could add more detail by just doing that, giving a slight kind of pommel, but I would have to also make these corner these, which we'll do. So I can't, even if I double click, you can't select any nodes. So what you have to do is select your object, right click, and go down to convert to curves. Now I have the access to these nodes. We want to do the curve symmetrically, so we'll just, well, what we'll do is we'll go to the corner tool, select both. So our corner tool is activated, and now we can do something like this. Yeah, something there. Now I would suggest, if you're happy, you should always keep your meshes. See, it might seem like it's better to have your properties in here so you can adjust it. Yes, but there are times when you adjust your mesh and these may not scale proportionally, so that is a pain in the rear end. So I suggest, if you're happy, you know, just always convert these to curves. Now they'll be baked in, this property. You can't edit it again, but it's, you know, it will save you time in the long run. I'd also like to join these bits to the handle itself. In other words, I'd like to make them look part of the handle. So the way I would do this is I would select, I'm going to convert these to curves, because again, this is like still a basic shape, and you must convert them to curves. So we select them, both of them, and just convert to curves. Now I can go in and double click and manipulate them as if they're a kind of their own shapes, as opposed to being just part of they're their own individual shapes, not just stock stock from the rectangle tool, etc. So I'm going to select the top part and the bottom part and the middle part of the handle, and I'm just going to Boolean operation, add everything, bang. And now, so this part is its own piece, but what will look good is, I'm thinking about the construction of these. Here you would have a kind of a right angle, because here is the way that it would be joined to the piece of metal. But here, this top and bottom part are part of the handle, so it would be more lightly, and I think it would look a lot better if we select the corner tool. I've used the C shortcut there, and we do this. It'll just look that little bit nicer than the sharp angles. Now I could select, do them two at a time or one at a time, but let's be efficient and select all of them. Make sure you've got the right one selected. Zoom in, and and I'm going to convert to curves, so I'll bake that property in. Yeah, other stuff we could do. We could bow the handle out, maybe, to give it more character and detail, or we could try and bow it inwards. Yeah, I think that probably looks better. Or you could even just have one piece in. Could do that. And I'm just going to shorten this part here. But by doing that, it may affect, yeah, it's going to affect the join. We can have a look at that. We can get rid of any excess like this, this node here. If I take the, oops, okay. So what we'll do is we'll just maybe adjust it this way. It's not perfect, but for now it'll do. We can also add character to the blade by doing by converting this again to convert to curves. Now I have access to the inner nodes, but we'll select this shape, and we'll make them one. So now I should be able to just curve that out, giving us more character, and bend them inwards. You can see whichever way you could bend it out. You can bend, I think bending it in looks that little bit better. Yeah, so now we have our nice meat cleaver. Let's see. Now I'm not overly enthusiastic about the very sharp ends here. It's too pointed, and again this looks a bit strange. So let's have a look at that. Why does it look strange? Because we've got an extra node there. Let's just see. Sometimes you can just get rid of these and they're fine. Other times you can, again, you can play around with it to see what shape you like. I'm not mad on that. You know, you could, really depends, but this won't do. I don't like it at all. So again, I'm going to go to our circle tool, C, and I'm going to just make that, smooth it out, and we'll do it up here as well. Another way you could do that, let's say if you didn't want to use your corner tool, because sometimes it might be a bit they don't always work perfectly, but another way you could do it is by creating another piece of another shape. I'll just color it red and angle it and do something like this. Now, if you wanted to see you just give yourself the opacity, just bring it down a bit so you can see what you're doing. I don't bother doing that, but you know, because I know that when we select these two and perform a Boolean operation, subtract, I'm pretty sure that will be as I want it. Yeah, something like that. Yep. Gives it a nice corner. Same here. I'll try the corner tool. See how it goes. Like sometimes it can look a little bit mathematical or something, and it might look a little bit too machined. Okay, for now we'll do that. I'm going to convert this shape, because again we still have our corner markers there, which we don't need. I'm going to convert it to curves so everything is baked in. Now, I think it would be nice if we moved this circle. So what I'm going to do is, this is the reason why I haven't baked it in yet. Let's make it red. So I can, like the corner here seem to affect the position, I think. So we can choose a position. Happy enough with the size, and I can just simply select the two objects, Boolean operation, and there's our cleaver. I'm happy enough with that. I kind of like the way that one of the handles is kind of bending inwards. Could do that either. But yeah, so I think I'll leave it at that. I'm not too happy about these, so I could do the same thing. Make a piece of red, square, and let's have a look. I could probably do it this way now. So it looks a bit strange here because of the corner tool. Doesn't, as I said, doesn't always work. So what we could do is we get our bit of red. It doesn't need to be so big, and I'm just making a line, a smoother line. So if I was to make this black, you'd see what I was doing here. But for now, let's select that, the two objects, and add Boolean operation. So now I'm given this new piece of mesh, or yeah, it's altered the mesh, and we can just make a nice bend there, and it looks nicer. We could do the same. Yeah, we'll do the same up here because we just have this horrible wobble, which I don't like. Again, we'll just take use our square tool. I mean, you can make it as smooth as you want, like, and by having it further out, it'll give you a bigger, wider band. So we'll try about there, and I'll just select both objects, and bang! Now we have our new bit of mesh that we can, so that is a lot nicer. And while I see it, I think we'll again select these two nodes and make it look a little bit nicer, like the part of the handle again. So we'll do the corner to thing, and we'll bring it out a bit. Again, sometimes you're restricted. You can see what's happening here. On one side, I can go further than the other side because of a certain node. Again, so I'll just go out as far as I can, and I'll bake those in by convert to curves. Boom. So that's our finished cleaver. Well, I'm going to make it one shape now by joining the other two, and there we have it. Job done. Tutorial over. However, so if anyone wants to stick around, there are a couple of things we can do as well. If I wasn't happy with this, obviously I can't select this now because it's the circle it isn't a separate object anymore. So I can't select this. I would either have to do this and create a new circle if I wanted to reposition it, or I can just go in and move the actual nodes, in case anyone didn't know that. But but we'll say we're happy enough. Well, no, actually, I want to put it back. Sorry. But if we did want to resize that, it would be a problem, and we would have to just redo it again. But that's not the end of the world. Okay. So we could, if we wanted to add more details, and I'd probably go to that those white taper techniques. But I'll just color them red for the moment, and you can really kind of eyeball where you want to put them. You can just get your pen tool and try here. Okay, now this is one of the reasons I don't want to work with the stroke on, because it just gets in the way. So I'm just going to go up here, remove the stroke by selecting it, clicking this little button here, and we don't have to worry about the stroke anymore. I'm just going in to position this. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but so there's one of our tapers. You can see how that looks if you want by just making that white. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. We could try another one here. The trick with these is you don't want to make them too fat. Maybe that's a little bit, because it just looks like there's a clump like cut out of the object instead of it being part of the shape and adding something to the shape. Although I think this one could be thicker. you can also add highlights. Let's try something using a simple, where are we? Crescent tool here. So you could use this perhaps here. It's a bit thick, so maybe a bit. So it would catch, catch the end. I think it doesn't really work for me. So, but what I will do is try this, as if it's part of the. So if I want to select, if I want to make this expand on both sides as opposed to just this way, so it's an uneven expansion, I can just select the and hold down, select the node and hold down Command, and that will give me so you could do something like that, or you could do something like this, but you would have to resize this, something like that. Actually, I think I prefer that, but I'll make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, I think I prefer that. There we go. And probably cleavers tend to have some kind of line that would delineate the actual blade. So let's do something like that, something simple, just using the square tool, but make it your rectangle. I mean, you could use a stroke and stuff, but I would prefer to just do it this way. Again, convert to curves, and I'm going to just bow this out this way as well. A bit more, I think. I'm going to make that white so I can see how it looks with the rest of the object. Yeah, it kind of follows the curve. It's not perfect, but I don't mind. Sometimes little imperfections make the objects look a little bit more organic or hand drawn. So we're happy enough with that, I think. So at the moment, if we look at our shape, we have this. So we have these three pieces of white, which we don't want. Another way you could, in case you didn't know, I showed you in my last video, I selected the three objects, but if you had a load of objects, it would probably be easier to select everything and deselect your shape, thus having these now selected. Depending on your color selection as well, we know these are white, so obviously we could go to select same objects, select same, as you can see here, select same fill color. So everything that's with the one fill color we now have selected. If you wanted, there's other parameters there as well, but you can have a look through those. So now if I select the cleaver and then I do a Boolean operation, subtract, we have our mesh now gone. But this is also its own object and is not actually part of the cleaver. So we will select both of those and add. Boom. Now we have our one cleaver with the little white tapers or highlights. Other places they could look quite nice would be maybe here. I'm going to use the pen tool for this just for speed. Would be something like there. No, I don't like that. Sorry, no. Let's try just where there would be a slight indentation on the kind of part of the blade towards the handle, something like that. That's very messy, so let's tidy it up a bit. Let's see if we can make it work. You've got your handles here. Something like that. It's probably like, yeah, maybe, yeah, something like that. Or you could put a highlight up here, maybe. Yeah, and these are simple icons, so they don't have to be like physics perfect for your highlights. Maybe less is more. Yeah, something like that might work. Although I'm gonna leave those out. So there we have our simple cleaver, spooky cleaver. You could try adding more highlights to it and make it look metal, but then you're kind of going against, this is just supposed to be a silhouette. So yeah, there we have our cleaver done. Whatever angle you want, and you could even, just for the season that's in it, you could take your tear tool and add some blood. Anyway, so thanks for watching. If you have any comments, feedback, or questions about this, let me know. And please subscribe if you don't mind me rambling on while I'm attempting to show you how to draw in Affinity Designer. Yeah, so this is just a basic tutorial. So thanks for checking it out, and talk to you soon. Take care. Stop and save recording.